This is Saida Garrett, and I'm tuned in to Intro to Info with my girl Mikeisha.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. It's the Flowices here, and I'm tuned into Intro to Info with my girl Mikeisha. All love, always.
Hey, welcome to today's episode of Intro to Info. I'm your host, Mikeisha, broadcasting live from the Washington, D.C. area. Hosting with me, you got Wham Tam. Hosting with me, you got Queen of Hearts. Thank you, ladies, for being here. And thank you, everybody, for your listenership and viewership last week, as well as listening in the archives, going back to YouTube and watching it in the replays. A lot of those replays of me watching myself because I just love myself, and you should love yourself too. Hi, Queen of Hearts. Hi, Tam.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
So,
So, um,
Tamika, Tam, she picked out our topic for this week, and I can't wait to delve into it. But Tam, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's a topic that we better get right because we're on the J King Network. We are on the network of a R&B legend, so we better get this right. We better tackle all the proper points and make sure that we get this right. Now, the topic today, you all, is R&B singers. What's the difference between the vets versus the current R&B singers? So that's our main topic. Can't wait to, first of all, see why Tam picked that, and then go into our opinions as to what we think the differences are between R&B singers of the past versus R&B singers of today. All right, estamos listos? We ready? Let's go. First and foremost, took the students on a field trip today to NPR. We went to NPR, took some journalism honor students to NPR, right? And we watched Tiny Desk, and we toured the NPR building. It was so phenomenal. I was walking around the building like this. Like, it was just watching journalists do their job and look for the stories, and watching the students and all, like, aspiring journalists be in the midst of current journalists was a beautiful thing. And then seeing Tiny Desk in person was just phenomenal. I put it up on Facebook, and we took the honor students. That was just a joy. Chef's kiss. We really had a good time. So I just wanted to say that, and shout out to the Annenberg honor students in the School of Communications. All right. Tam, I know I asked you to read something, but here's a backstory. Okay, Instacart had given me, if I spend $50 at Giant, I can get $10 off. I said, yeah, we're going to do that. So one of the things that I needed was syrup. And I always wondered, and I know you all did too as Black women, wonder why Aunt Jemima went from Aunt Jemima to Pearl Millings without an explanation. Wasn't no explanation. So I did some research, and I asked Tam to come on here and explain why Aunt Jemima is now Pearl Millings. Who that? Tam, the floor is yours.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. Let me pull up I got it right here. Oh my goodness. Okay. So Can you hear me? Okay. The brand, formerly known as Aunt Jemima, was changed in 2021 because of concerns about racial stereotypes tied to its name and imagery. So here's the breakdown. Origins tied to a stereotype. Aunt Jemima was based on a character rooted in minstrel shows from the 1800s, a portrayal of a Black woman as a happy, subservient cook. Over time, many people recognize this as a harmful and outdated stereotype. Number two, it was increased public pressure in 2020 during the nationwide conversations about racial justice after events like the George Floyd protests. Um, there was renewed scrutiny on brands using racially insensitive imagery or names. A company decision made by Pepsi decided the brand needed a full rebrand, not just removing the image, but changing the name entirely. So, why Pearl Milling Company? The new name actually references the original mill that produced the pancake mix in 1888, before the Aunt Jemima branding was introduced. So it's meant to connect to the product's early history without the stereotype. So the bottom line, the change wasn't about the product itself. It was about removing branding that many people saw as offensive and replacing it with something more neutral and historically grounded.
I'm back. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Y'all can hear me? Okay, cool. So what are your initial thoughts on just what Tam read?
Well, I mean, you know, when we was going through with Mr. Man and all the issues with the Confederate, taking out a Confederate, this and the third, everybody was so sensitive during that time. That's why they thought it was in the best interest to change the name from Aunt Jemima to whatever it is now. It seemed like everything in that bottle is still the same ingredient wise. This and the third is just that name was, all these sensitive people felt like it needed a change. But I personally, it did not offend me, and I think it should have just remained the same, because history wise, it didn't have a negative impact on nobody, just like those statues and other things that was around that people was tearing down and destroying. Now that did have a negative impact to our history, and that's my take on that one.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Tam, what do you say to that? Well, what's your response to what you just read?
Um, I mean, it's I feel like Queen is kind of a going in the refrigerator or the cabinet and seeing the lady with the red bandana tied around her head. Like, I know what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's what I grew up on. So, not as a kid, I'm not thinking that it's a stereotype or it's racial, or it's like everything is so in your face now. So you gotta stay woke and you gotta, you know, um, everybody's so personally touched by everything, and it might not have been that serious. I don't know what the person was thinking when they made it initially, but changing it to the pearl milling, I thought that sounded like somebody grandma auntie right there. I don't know. It don't really take too much away from Aunt Jemima. You know what I'm saying? It still sounds like somebody auntie Pearly Jenkins company. I don't know. It's back to the original meal. I said, okay, that sound, if you want to go that route, that sound a little, I don't know.
Okay.
It's like anything that we can associate to us, they're still trying to erase that. You know what I'm saying? They don't want us to have anything that reflect us, represent us, about us. You understand what I'm saying? Even with the Statue of Liberty, I hate to go that direction, but we know what the original, how it originally was designed, and they felt like, oh, it's not Anglo-Saxon enough. So you see how they switched that up. So I haven't looked at the new bottle. Did they even redesign the way that the bottle look compared to how it used to look? The Aunt Your Mama syrup?
No, at a glance, it's the same bottle. You would have to pick it up and look at it to see that there's actually a between Aunt Your Mama and Pearl, because she's still brown skin. She's still pretty face brown skin lady, right? Dark skin almost. She's dark skin. But Aunt Your Mama had the scarf tied around her head. She did not have a relaxer. But Pearl Millings got her a relaxer. So they call themselves, giving Aunt Your Mama a tune-up, a makeover, whatever, have a perm, a hairdo. They might put a little rouge on her. I think they might have changed her top, but at a glance, no, it's no difference. You really have to look at it intentionally. But attention to detail, I happen to notice it because I'm looking for Aunt Your Mama on that thing. I'm like, Pearl Millings, who that? So yes, but it's very similar to answer your question, Queen.
Yeah.
Okay. Couple more topics before we move on to our main topic. One thing I didn't know that I discovered recently is that
I don't really even buy syrup.
You don't buy syrup, Tam? So what you put on your pancakes and your French toast?
Okay, while they are getting ready to log back on, we was talking about the Aunt Your Mama syrup, this and the third, the history, how it came about, this and the third. And Tam says she doesn't use syrup. I know I do. I will load my pancakes down with syrup. And I used to use Aunt Your Mama syrup because of the maple taste and the thickness, the consistency, and everything had the pancakes on point. But I haven't used Aunt Your Mama syrup in a minute, so I don't even know if it tastes the same. According to Mikeisha, she stated that it doesn't look the same anymore, so it's quite obvious it's not going to be the same, and I'm not going to patronize it anymore because, like I stated earlier, I don't think they should have never changed it, but I am not the name behind the brand, so my little 1 cent worth of opinion don't mean nothing at this point. All right, Tam, she asked you, what do you put on your pancakes if you're not using syrup, sis?
Tam, are you able to hear us? Okay. We're gonna have Tam fix whatever issue she's facing with her internet, but moving right on. You gotta fix it, Tam, because it's not working.
No, my mic was muted.
Oh, now your mic sound nice. Your mic sound nice. What? Y'all give me 1 second. Let me show you something.
You still didn't answer the question. What you put in your pancakes, Tam?
No, I wasn't saying I don't use it. I just said I don't buy it that much. It's crazy.
They took her whole face off I'm just now saying they took Pearl Millings' face off the bottle. Look at that. See that? Okay. I just want y'all to just see what's happening in the world.
Crazy.
They took
But
her.
is that her that's the company owner's name, or is that her original name?
That's the name
That's
of
the name of the
it's,
No, I was saying, is that Aunt Mama's original name, or I heard what Tam said, but is that Aunt Mama's original name, or is that the company's name?
I'm sure it's
neither.
It's something
Okay,
they
gotcha.
made up to exploit us as a people, in my opinion. And then they took her black ass off. I can't believe they took her. I didn't realize they took her off the thing. Anyway, let's move along before I get mad. Okay. All right, so we're gonna you Queen of Hearts. This is something I didn't know, you all. I thought that the same grocery stores were across the US. The same, me and Tamika live in the same area. So I thought that across the United States there was Aldi, Giant, Safeway, Shoppers, Liddell, Wegmans, Trader Joe's. I thought that was across America, but that's not true because I asked some of my friends are across with their local grocery stores, and it's not those. Queen of Hearts, go ahead, tap in.
We have Aldi's down here, but our main ones are like Publix. Publix is rooted, branded, was established here. Then we have everybody have Walmart. So sick and tired of Walmart. They can keep Wally World and kick it off the earth. I don't care. I don't do them. I hate them. And then we have it used to be Winn-Dixie. They done changed a lot of our Winn-Dixies to Harvey's. And the only Kroger that's near us is like more in Tampa. And I know Kroger is heavily throughout Georgia and stuff. But Trader Joe's and all them other places that you mentioned, that's up north thing. That's not down here in the South, baby.
Queen of Hearts, do y'all have a Piggly Wiggly up where you live?
I haven't seen no Piggly Wiggly in so long. When I hear that name, I'm like, what? That still exists? I think that's more like Georgia, Alabama side, but in Florida, on my end, these bougie Southern people, nah, they ain't finna hit no Piggly Wiggly. But I remember it from back in the day.
Piggly Wiggly's still out there.
Huh?
What you say,
What did Tam say?
What you say, Tam?
I just said Piggly Wiggly is still out there.
Okay, I've got to get inside of a Piggly Wiggly. I'm telling you. Okay. You're listening to Intro to Info with your host, Mikeisha, Queen of Hearts and Tam. We're about to get into our subject matter in just a few minutes about the R&B artists of today versus the veterans. What are the main differences? Got just a few more questions, but I'm leading up to it. This is a slow burn, right? So my next question is, it's a good one. Would you put your long-term boyfriend or girlfriend in your will? And if so, what would you give them? Not your husband, but your Queen of Hearts. Why are you looking at me? Don't get cute because you married. Don't be cute because some people they not married but they go with somebody. So this is a consideration for them in case the Lord calls them home. All right. So if you if you weren't married, would you leave your man in your will? Tamika, Queen, the floor is yours.
Child. To the left, to the left.
Don't do that, Tam.
I leave them a video cracking my ass off.
If you're not committed, there's a will, there's a way. See your way out.
Hey, y'all tough, man. Well, I think that you let men know that beforehand. That say if we never get married, something happens to me. What you mean no?
Because that'll get them incentive to want to put a ring on it quicker. You know what I'm saying? Because people have hidden agendas. And these day and time, it seems like most of their hidden agendas is how much they could get, why the getting is good. You know what I'm saying? They're not looking at, like Tam said, the commitment, the whatever. They're looking at the beneficial part. They're not looking at the longevity and the true love. I mean, I don't want because I mean, it's several levels to love. We think of the word love is just one thing of love. No, you got the friendship love. You have your brother and sister type of love. You have your, empathy type of love. And then that unconditional love, that's the agape. You know what I'm saying? You can't find no agape love these days. What you bringing to the table, nigga? What you bringing to the table? Because I made the table. I had a table before I seen you. And my table was full. We eating good. So what you bringing? You know what I'm saying? Ain't no 50-50. It's 100-100. You can't match my energy, then keep it pushing. And then if you, like Tam stated, if you want to continue to drink this milk from this fountain, invest in that milk. So we both can capitalize off it. Because I'm not going to invest on something that I can't get returned. When you work in a business, what they say, ROI, return on investment, I'm not going to invest all these years. And then when you old crabbing your sack singing and hanging to your knees and you can't do nothing, now you want to commit?
Duh.
Keep it pushing.
That's the way of
it
goes.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something quick.
You be happy that you're married, because that attitude and being so haughty and high on the horse and needing all this stuff from a man, and how we outnumber men. I'm telling you, if you were single, these men would say there's way too many women out here for you to have
such ice stack.
Damn it.
Listen,
Damn it.
I gave him 4 years. I said, listen here, we finna make a decision. We finna make a decision right now. You done got 4 years, Playboy. We are not getting younger. Okay, even though I am looking young, we're not getting younger. So you better make a decision before I veto your decision and make one for you and move on with my life. Because I'm not going to give you now another nothing if you don't commit. You got comfortable. A lot of them get complacent and comfortable, and they feel like she dealing with it now. She gonna deal with it for no. Because that's not a good example for my daughter. You know what I'm saying? It's not a good example for my nieces. It's not a good example for the kids that I mentor, that we keep telling them to live a certain way and do certain things and to value themselves. How can I get out there and mentor somebody telling them to learn your self-worth and value yourself, and I'm still with this man for damn near 20 years and he ain't committed to me?
I know.
I'm not saying that that's my case, but I gave him 4 years, and I said that's 4 years too long. We've been married, it's going on 6 years and together, 10, 11? I don't know. I lost count. But anywho, yeah. After 4 years of dating, baby, let's make this decision. We're going to have this hard talk. You can make it or bake it. What we going to do? What we going to do?
Wham Tam, what you got on that?
I'm trying to figure out what you mean by you need to let him know.
Like, yeah, you don't need to, because if so, what I mean is,
okay,
you don't want,
if you're, let's just say your significant, not your husband, just your man or whatever you want to call him. I mean, I don't know. What do you give that? I mean, unless he gave you a kidney or something like that, I don't.
So you wouldn't leave him.
What warrants that? Like she said,
no. I've known you.
This is a sacrifice for me to be.
No,
you know, in a relationship anyway. So I got the commitment. To be a certain level of commitment when you're talking about, just how people treat you, for them to be able to get certain things, like, I have and this is no knock on, I'm Snitchy Smurf. I do have and sometimes, well, you on this and you should be that. I said that the things that you're saying are required of me come with a certain level offering. So therefore, you don't have the right to request these things. So I would feel the same way about a will. No, you say I do till you don't.
Tam, we got a slight delay on you when you speak. Just FYI, there's a slight delay when you speak. Okay. Thank you all for answering candidly.
I gotta say add more to that. Okay, now
Okay, let me get my tea.
Okay, we're talking about wills, right?
Yes.
Wills only hold so much weight. Trust out trump wills. You understand? So if we don't put our stuff in a trust with a trustee and stuff like that, the state can still take what we have. So this man thinking he finna inherit something and it's not really no trust. Joke on you, boo boo. You ain't finna get nothing at all. And if we flip the script, do you think he will let you know if you dating him that, hey, babe, if something happened to me, I'm gonna leave a will and this, that, and the third to you?
I would like one way or another.
But if he don't show you that document or have a video pre-recorded with what he's leaving you in behind and no real trust, or which out trumps a will, you don't know. Because if the state take it and they go on probate and they constantly change it ish up there on Big Hill, and like they stated before, we talking, so the algorithms and stuff won't pick up. We don't know what may happen from here and out if they continue to change things, But I'm not leaving. I'm glad. If I were to be single again and we're dating, they're not getting nothing. Especially if I have kids, they're not getting nothing. Sorry, I love you, but I don't. I do, but I'm dead. You ain't getting nothing.
Well, my answer. Go ahead, Queen. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm killing myself. I shouldn't say I'm dead, but I said when I die, they're not getting nothing. I love you, boo, from the grave. That's what I send them in the video, but you ain't getting nothing. Thank you, but no thank you.
Well, if my man left me something in his will, then I will leave him something in mine, and I would prefer that we be married in order for this transaction to occur. But that is the way that it will go down in this best household. You dig? All right, y'all. We about to get into this subject matter. R&B artists. One of my favorite subjects is just music, and R&B is my favorite genre of music. So I'm happy, very, very, very happy to talk about this, and I do have my points. But Queen of Hearts, I'll start with you. When I first sent you that topic, what were your initial thoughts, and kind of what were the thoughts that you ruminated over as the question, was sitting in your subconscious? Like, what's the difference between R&B artists of today versus the veterans?
You trying to tickle my brain? What did I text you? I don't know, but I know that old school R&B, they sung from the soul. You know what I'm saying? It came with a message.
Love for music artists.
Go ahead, Tam.
And so I was just, I listen to all kind of music as well. And for me, it's just So nothing is maybe whatever was, but from the maybe 60s, 70s on, it's like everything in a sample or a ad lib from this person, that person. So I feel like originally they sung with, and I just kind of, I was watching a clip of the subject came to me from watching a clip of Rick James and Tina Marie, and how, you know, they were engaging their songs together, and they could have been fighting backstage, like right before they came out. Like that was a real thing. Like it wasn't just let me get in the studio and record it. Like it was actually their real lives. Like, you know what I mean? So it just, I don't know. Every time you listen to it, every time you hear it takes you to a place, you know, those kinds of things. So that's why the music of today it just doesn't do.
Okay, noted. Thank you for that your initial thoughts on that Fire and Desire, Tina Marie and Rick James, huh? Okay, I got you. So I wanted to start, because it's such a great topic once again, but let's start with what are considered to be, and this is by the collective, because I've done a lot of research, right? What are considered the best R&B albums of all time, right? Did a lot of research, and you got Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, which was released in 1971, Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder, which was released in 1976, Thriller, which was released in 1983, and The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, which was released in 96, if I have that right. All right. So those are some of the greatest albums across the board that ever were released in R&B history. So look at the time frame of that, right? The 70s and 80s, right? That's when the vast majority of these albums were released. So what does that say? That implies that the best of R&B has come and gone. Like the best artists, the best albums, the best lyrics, the best instrumentation was around that time, and then sprinkle in the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill for the current one. That's the minority. But those albums of the past, that genre, that sweet spot, is when they say R&B was at its best. Have you guys heard any of those albums front to back? Would you say that any of those are in the running for the best album of all time in the genre of R&B?
To our sister, Queen of Hearts, you're on mute, sister.
You're on mute, sister.
Okay. I would say yes, because I remember having my Michael Jackson on vinyl with that picture on the front. He wearing that suit with that real Jerry curl and the brown skin, you know, the real Michael Jackson. So yes, baby, I had my glove on and I get my dance on. That was it. And all the other ones, I remember doing our own Soul Train line to those hits when we had our family gatherings and things like that. And when you go to most functions, whether it's a seminar or a corporate event or a city event held downtown in the park, what they bumping? They bumping that old school from the 70s to the late 80s. They're not playing this stuff that they playing right now on the radio. Why? Because it had essence. It felt good. Every race out there could relate to it. It brought about unity. It sung about unity, sung about real love. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't all about popping that pee, getting, shake it, twerk it, popping these pills. None of that. It was about love, unity, things that they went through, stuff like that. Everybody of every race could relate to, and they still bumping those classics today. and you understood what they were saying in those lyrics. When everybody put on that same uniform outfits and they stand in that line popping that finger with their feet going to side, you know it's finna go down. It's a cookout. It was about to go down. But now, when they get on stage, it's like, what they finna do? If they don't have their bike up dancers and stuff, it's like, you know what I'm saying? They gotta have all this lights and all this stuff to captivate you into that music along with a catchy beat, but it's not really no good performance with deliverance. You know what I'm saying, Tam? It's where did it go? Bring it back, please. Please. And the ones that's trying to bring it back, they so old and without they making knees or whatever, their knees locking up and they falling. Sorry, Lord, we love you, but you fell on stage. You know what I'm saying? Genuine, you fell off a stage. We love you too, but Teddy Pendergrass, can we get that back? Luther Vandross, can we bring that back? Gladys Knight, can we bring her back? You know what I'm saying? Shaka Khan, where you at, girl?
It was great.
Great.
This is just. I love this. Tamika, before I soapbox, do you have anything? Okay, Tam, she left and had to come back. So I'll jump in her absence. So one of the biggest differences between the vets and the current R&B singers is many singers came from church or gospel backgrounds, so their voices had a lot of power and range. I remember when Whitney Houston did her first album, it was self-titled, it was called Whitney Houston, and she came out with it. Whitney Houston, she sent over one of the first songs to Clive Davis. It was either Saving All My Love for You or You Give Good Love. And it was like a raw cut of the song. And he sent it back. He said, it sounds too gospel. You singing too hard. Make it more airy so it can appeal to the masses. That is one of my most telling reasons why R&B has made a shift, because she was back in, this album was released in 1984 and that happened, right? So since 84, you've seen that gradually just continue to happen where these singers have the range to go sing from the diaphragm, but the A&R, right, or the label head says you got to sit in the back so it can appeal to the masses, and we're not just trying to sell to your people, we want to sell to everybody. So I really think that's one of the biggest issues, because I really do think that if more artists were able to sing how they really were meant to sing, that it would happen more frequently. Another thing that has happened between the vets and versus this generation of R&B singers is that fusion of hip hop with R&B. Right, but before that happened, of course, New Jack Swing happened. So it was this. First, you had the live instrumentations. You know, there was no machines doing the beat. There was a live band playing the tracks, and then we moved to like the era of New Jack Swing, and that starts to fuse hip hop with R&B, and then we go to like the 90s where you had Mace and Brandy on the track together, and what's the all I Need to Get By, right? Method Man and Mary J. Blige. This becomes a trend, and it continues to happen, and it really has not stopped. So that's another major difference between the R&B artists of yesteryear and today. Further, Queen, remember back in the day, we had all of these brothers and sisters who were in groups together. The Jacksons, right? The Silvers, the Barge are just a couple of examples. Levert. You had all these siblings could sing, and they made a group. The Braxtons are more recent, and they only had one album. They branched off Tamar, Tony. But what I'm speaking about is the ones who like of like yesteryear, the 70s, 80s. That was more popular than it is now. Wish we saw more of that, so we could see a family of talented singers. What do you have on that?
I know they did such an awesome job because I listened to everyone that you just mentioned and I love them. They brought a variety of different sounds. Like you said, it wasn't that all that old school gospel sound. I'm reading what they're putting in the comments. Somebody said, Christy Graham say, right? Christy Graham say, blessings for your wisdom and continued support of Intro to Info with all the great broadcasts going on the J King Network, sister. Grateful. Thank y'all. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
They brought a lot of essence to the music, and I was looking at IG the other day, and it was saying, all these different artists that we didn't even know that was related, and I was like, what, huh, what, so, and they kept that hush hush, so. But what was your initial question again?
Just what are your thoughts on the siblings who had the groups? It's always so interesting, even among siblings. There's always one who rises to the top. Even with twins, there's usually a smarter twin. There's usually a singer who can sing the best out of the group. It's just interesting how that works. Somebody always rises to the top, right? The Jacksons, of course, we got Michael. I would say DeBarge is actually one of the few exceptions because they all could sing down, but I would give partiality to Bobby DeBarge because he has one of the best falsettos I've ever heard from a male. I mean, he was just amazing, and that's an understatement. But these groups, Laverne, right? Gerald rose to the top. I find it to be interesting, but that's something that we're kind of missing in today's R&B scene. The siblings aren't there as well. The funny thing is, Q-Tip had a song lyric that says it goes on and on like a Stevie song. So what he means by that is Stevie Wonder songs were 8, 9, and 10 minutes, and that is another trend of the R&B singers of the past. Their songs were much longer. But what's happening what's happening right now is streaming favors the shorter songs. So that's one of the reasons but the songs have gotten gradually shorter as the years have progressed. But yeah, the Stevie Wonder songs, Aretha songs lasted a long time, and they would just take Anita Baker. She used to cut up on that piano, like not her radio edits, but her like the full length songs, and you could just hear the instrumentation, and she would be ad-libbing. These are examples I'm talking about of like the R&B singers the things that they used to do. It doesn't happen so much now, and I want to say something emphatically. I want to give credit and homage to the R&B singers who are keeping those trends alive because they are out there. They're just not pushed to the forefront. They're just not promoted the most by the A&Rs, the record companies. Which, another segue, that's another delineation between R&B artists of the past versus today. We don't need that damn record company no more, because if Mikeisha can sing, she could make a beat right now, sing it, and put it out, and it could be viral tomorrow. Skip the record company, skip the A&R, skip all that. So that is definitely another difference. The other thing is, what's missing from just artists in general is artist development. Now, who does that remind us of? Pebbles. Before TLC got into the industry, they were trained for like 2-3 years by Pebbles. Okay, that is something that is less common than that was like mandatory back in the day. That was mandatory. Wham Tam, I see you shaking your head. What are you thinking?
No, I agree with you. They need it, especially these groups, which is probably why they don't last.
And I wanted to go back to where you were saying the family groups and stuff, and how one always rose to the top. I feel like a lot of those groups would have never separated if they didn't have nobody in their ear. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people in the industry, while you watching these documentaries or whatever, they go in the office and they talk to the lead person at the over the label. They be like, "Oh, you know what? You can be the star, artist. We can put you out there." Da, 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 da. And they're like, "Well, what about the group? What about the group? How long you gonna carry the group? You the one carrying." So if they didn't have that person putting that bug in their ear, they probably wouldn't have Eve would have never ate the apple of somebody to put that bug in her ear. You could be wiser than God, blah, 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 blah. So if they would have never put that bug in their ear, I think a lot of those groups would have stayed together and been unified and would have been successful still today. You know what I'm saying? Versus leaving the others behind and got all this beef between family members or whatever unnecessarily if they would have never left the group.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is a large part of why that happens. These rifts are a lot of the times, sometimes they're created internally between the band members, but a large part of the time is people that's in their ear who, have ulterior motives, to be honest with you. And the other difference is lots of remakes these days. So I'm glad for the remakes on the one hand because it pays homage to the veterans, and also what is that? Is this Gen Z? Yeah, Gen Z. Gen Z did not know that "Crazy in Love" by Beyonce and Jay-Z came from a Shy Light song. Gen Z didn't know that this song Nicki Minaj did is a Annie Lennox song. Gen Z didn't know that "No Diggity" by Blackstreet was "Grandma's Hands" by that's Bill Withers. These are just examples that I'm just off the cuff because I study music and they need to know that's so important. And then you tell them this at a sample, and then they're so arrogant. Some of these Gen Zs, there ain't no sample. I ain't never heard this sample. Well, you was in heaven when the sample was out, when the original was out, honey. You were in heaven. So let me teach you a thing or two. I'm gonna play this song right now so you would know that "Crazy in Love" came from Shy Lights. Shout out to Marshall Thompson. I was with him back in December at the Poconos. Yes. Okay. So the remakes are one of the other part of the remakes is matter of fact, Kendrick Lamar. They just sampled is that Switch? Yeah, just sample Switch. So it puts money back into the veterans' pockets, and it puts streams, and it puts it recalls to the older generation. Oh, I remember that song. So it's twofold. It has a lot of it does a lot when these artists remake these tracks. All right, I'm gonna take a step back. Queen Tam, jump in.
I did the same thing with my two. They hear a song and they're like, "Yo, that's a hit, man. That's fire. That's fire." I say, "For what? Who they sample that from?" "Oh, that ain't sample. Da 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 da." And when I played the original tune to them, when they were younger, they used to say, "Those are thieves. How they gonna steal their stuff? Isn't it illegal?" I say not necessarily illegal because they can get royalties off of them using their music. You know what I'm saying? Like you're saying, give the homage of using their material and things like that. But when they were younger, they thought that they were stealing the music, and I say no. But one thing I noticed too, I wish they wouldn't use auto-tune so much when they doing these remixes. If they cannot carry that tune in a bucket like that artist did, then don't play with it. Leave it alone and let somebody who can handle it get the material. That auto-tunes is killing a lot of that good sound, and we can't hear the originality into it because of that. And I'm gonna shut up. Tam.
Tam, did you want to weigh in?
I really like October London. He has a He does a lot of like Marvin Gaye. So it's nice to hear that a person who sounds, just very almost like him. But then he has his own twist on a lot of the songs as well. But it just speaks to what I was saying about the originality of, the originals and how powerful their what they did is still carrying on for basically people who want to be relevant today.
Yeah.
There's nobody, that's not too many people. And I guess you're gonna have a little bit of everybody things from the past just because there are so many keys on the keyboard. I mean, we go where music is made from, all the instruments. So there's that, but it's the way that you can combine, your artistry with the instruments and, how you sound with a live band and horns and percussion. You gotta really, really have some talent. Because these people, they just get on the stage sometimes and you just be like, wow, okay. That studio is your friend. Or people are just so drunk at these shows, or they're just so glad to see that person. And I'm just like, she's not singing. Wow. Like we were talking the other day, Brandy, that's my girl. And she's, unfortunately just kind of with this Brandy Monica thing, getting her real flowers. Like she's been it for a long time. Not so much in the spotlight, but Instagram. But there was a woman saying that Brandy has a range, like she can sing in 2 different octaves and flawlessly. You know what I mean? So unless you're in a person into music like that, you're like, what is she talking about? But she can be in her high, register, low register. And it sounds as if it's flawless. That's because you call putting in work and, from a child, her parents in the music. So, I think she's definitely a role model to a lot of these young ones. They get so excited when she, remixes their music and things like that. But now it's all about the likes and the follows and the look at me, look at me. I don't know. That's my 3 cents.
And you know what, sis? A lot of people didn't know that T-Pain really could sing because he always using auto tunes, right? But when he went on, I can't think of the name of that show, and he sung Tennessee Whiskey without no auto tunes, people was like, what? He can sing? I'm like, yeah, he Florida bred and grown. Yeah, that man can sing. But he got a voice on him. And you remember when we was locked down for that little moment when that Iki Iki was floating around in the air? They had that one show where they would bring on 2 artists and they would sing and compete against each other. And they brought on Ashanti and Keisha Cole that one time. And Ashanti blew Keisha Cole out the water. You know what I'm saying? Then they had Bobby Valentino.
The verses.
That was the one where they had multiple artists, but it was another show where they only had two of them. I think it was the Verses or something like that. And I was like, what? This person really can sing because they're not in the studio, like Tam said, where they sound perfect, but then now that they're on an actual mic with all that extra to cover up, we was able to hear who really was carrying it and who wasn't. So yeah, they need to do that again.
Really great points from both of you. I really appreciate your input. I mentioned the siblings a little while ago. Oh, let me not forget to mention JowDo, Casey and JoJo. Casey, yeah, they're brothers. And then what you said, Tim, about Brandy is wonderful. Brandy, in the way she brought Ray J out and try to have him sit on her shoulders. And the way Toni made sure her sisters got famous is commendable. But in addition to the siblings, you had parent and child singers as well in the R&B genre, right? Think of Nat and Natalie Cole, Sissy and Whitney Houston. But Sissy and Whitney Houston weren't a group together, but Whitney did sing some backing vocals for Sissy, but they weren't a group. Donnie and Layla Hathaway, and then Donnie, he passed before Layla got famous, but I'm just making a point. The staple singers, right? So the father, let me just address that. Let's Do It Again. Singing Let's Do It Again with daughters and daddy, it was like a little, I don't know. He's actually singing it anyway, but I get it in theory, but I mean, I kind of do think about that, like, damn, like, what are we doing? Okay, and the other difference is, back in the day, boom, you had bands whereby you had people playing instruments and singers, and it comprised a band. Think Earth, Wind & Fire, think Switch, think Atlantic Star. That used to be really, really popular. That's one thing, and I could say that absolutely doesn't exist. And the last time that I could recall it to memory, correct if I'm wrong, is Mint Condition, where they had the, get Stokely and then, Toni Braxton's ex-husband on the keys and all that. You know what I'm saying? But that is one thing that is pretty much obsolete at this point, if I have that right. We should bring that back. Definitely should bring that back. Let me do some talent scouting. Let's create a record label, guys. Yeah. Any final thoughts? I know we're coming down to the top of the hour. We got 2 minutes. Any final thoughts on R&B singers of yesteryear versus now?
We need to see some more reunion tours. They don't have to dance. They don't have to do all that jumping around. Just sit in the chair and serenade us. We'll be more than happy to just hear that, Just bring it back. I'm ready. I want to hear something worth paying to go see. Because all that lights and flickering and stuff, I can watch that from my TV.
Okay. Very good.
Okay, take that. Hold on. I did enjoy the Chris Brown concert last year when he hit Orlando, and he did an amazing job. Now, I was stunned by how him, and what's that one chick, the dancer that everybody keep talking about, Taylor? That when he kept saying, I need to feel something. I said, Chris, you done had 9 punani's flopping in your lap. How many much more of something you need to feel? But they did their thing. I give him a big up on that. Chris did a very good job. And he was singing and dancing. And he put on a good show. I enjoyed myself. We saw it in October? He did good. So, yeah. He's my to now artist that I love to listen to his music.
And that's kind of a great way to round this out, because I want to give kudos to the R&B artists of today. It's not like they're doing everything wrong, but there are differences. But there's a such thing as keeping up with the times. But yes, Chris Brown is one. I call him the hardest male R&B showman in show business, and Beyonce the hardest working woman in show business. And I want to tip my hat to the artists of yesteryear who paved the way and whose shoulders Chris Brown and them stand on, and tell the new artists to keep up the great work and continue to push the genre forward. And with that, we are at the top of the hour. You guys have been tuning in to Intro to Info with Mikeisha, RnB Tam, and Queen of Hearts. Snitchy Smartphone Production, J King on the network. We appreciate you guys. We're here from 9 until 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on J King Network. All right, we'll see you in a week. God bless you. Thank you so much for your listenership. We out.